I'm a fan of the dance and the jigger's fancy steps, embroidered and beaded deer and moose-hide handmade vests, hanging round a fire with friends, cooking bannock on a stick, guitar and fiddle into the night. I am all of this, and I'm a father.
Windy Acres is the site of the John Arcan Fiddle Fest, and that we thought that by bringing the Michif speakers together in an outdoor setting, it would provide a very relaxed setting that might remind people of the times when they grew up. All of the speakers are over 65, and we're in I guess, a critical state in terms of Michif speakers. There are somewhere between 100 and maybe 500 Michif speakers across Canada who don't live in proximity to one another, so their opportunities to use and practice the language are diminished because of that. Coming out of a time when Métis people went underground after 1885 and hid their identities because of the discrimination they would face by identifying, and also the pressure from mainstream schooling to say your language is not important, make sure you learn French or English. The language wasn't passed on to each generation, and so we have very few speakers left. We believe that the language holds the culture, that there are concepts and knowledge within the language that cannot be translated into English. And so the project here is called the Michif Language Banking Activity. And we say banking because we're basically putting it in the bank, in the Michif Bank, so that over the time that it takes to make resources, we will already have the raw materials.
Okay, Samina. Okay, Kishtanan. L'après-midi, mais dans la journée, qui toi merci de toi nan, qui mi goya, qui mi choya la chance. Je peux piquer pegoge quetstas tamak. Omakawi kistayak. Kispin ke goe ki no te achmonawa no se ki wani ke ka kwana agwan matastamok. Mina ka wihtena o tan chega ite me komanos. Nakskatu ya.
When I was born, I heard my grandmother delivering me in Michif to my mom. When I was in my mother's womb, I heard the language, Michif. That was my language. So everything was told in Michif. It's not a new language. My mother passed away, it'll be this year 7 years ago. She was 108 years old. She was a bona fide Michif person. Her parents were born 1879. They were born just a little after the first resistance, and they were before 1885. So they knew all those stories. So we had rich history and culture. In my home, where my grandparents, they were my teachers before I went to school. They had PhD degrees in their culture that you could never find in the university. Those kind of stories you can't tell because the land is where we belong. And we had relationships with the animals, we had relationship with the land. We recognized sounds of different birds, different animals. We knew the different grasses. We knew the different medicines. When I used to go digging medicines with my grandmother, she would tell us, you know, you eat this, you can't eat that. Don't touch this, it's not a good weed. This is no good to you, this will hurt you. So we learned all those things. And when I went to school, there was nothing like that. Today, we're still striving to have curriculum built into the schools. So this is what I'm trying to do as one of those people that's left over of still here, of people that have those stories yet. Because a lot of our elders we've lost in gatherings with the Gabriel Dumont Institute in 2008. We had about 11 of us or 12 of us, and we've lost 8 people already from that time. So they took their stories with them. They took the language with them. So now we got to work hard to keep on these stories.
Ke koe no te vista maui tek. Nista me tuneni mi te no ma e kiu kato ya uma. Kayasas panega wap metag. So tin mana mi asin ka wap meto ka wap metag. Aya an makano te achimuyan ni mamana kayas adoption she was adopted. Nung skatentan she toyan Michif adoption. Nemoshom no kom kinwesk ki awak ki wiki tuchik. Satans paska ki awak no kaskitawak lis enfant chayawachik. I was born speaking Michif. I didn't know how to speak English, and neither did my mother. My mother didn't know any English at all. She spoke Michif. And my mother's mother, my kokum, her name was Elizabeth Laframboise. She spoke French. And when my mom was growing up with her mother, Mrs. Laframboise, she spoke French. But when she met my dad was a Métis, and he spoke Michif. His father was a Métis, and his mother was an Indian lady. And that's how Métis was born between the two of them, speaking this language.
The most unique thing, within less than 100 years, we developed our own language, and we developed our own legends, our mythology, our own history as a people. Revitalization of a language is not told with just any other language. You have to use your language, because that's where the power of the language. But these people were so happy, there was a lot of emotion, and they got together here to be able to establish that base.
It's very evident to me from working with these elders over the last 2 days how important and passionate they are about their language. They consider it a gift from the Creator. They desperately want it preserved. They know they're getting older and that there's fewer and fewer speakers each year. People have been in tears over these last couple of days because of their passion and desire to see Michif not just saved but revitalized.
Thank you.